people who are new, welcome. What we suggested on Monday was that if you can, just have an exercise book that you can work in so that all of your Watobe work is in one place, and then keep that with a pencil aside so that when it's time to log on for Watobe, you don't have to scramble to try and find paper, that you know you've got your exercise book ready and with you. Otherwise, if you want to use exam pad or scrap paper, go right ahead, whichever one works for you. And then I also said on Monday, some teachers are mean and don't let their kids use calculators. So I'm one of those teachers with my own class. So I'm like, no calculators unless it's really big numbers. But if your teacher is more than happy for you to use a calculator, then you go right ahead and use a calculator. Okay. So if your teacher doesn't like you using calculators and they want you to use your noggins, then use your brain power. And if you can use a calculator, go for it and use a calculator. Okay. So I hope everyone's got their paper and pencil ready, and we're going to dive in. And we're going to start off by doing something that we started on Monday. And we're going to do a quick recap. And we're going to have a look at rounding off. Okay. So can you all see my screen? Can you just give me a thumbs up on the camera if you can see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. This is great. Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So when we are rounding off, if whatever number we're using to round off, so I'm going to write a random 377. Okay. Now, if I want to round off to the nearest 10.
Yes. Rebecca.
Yeah.
We are actually seeing the Watobe Pro Profs at the moment, so you might want to switch quickly to the course your OneNote tab.
Okay, thank you for that. That would have been terrible. You don't need to be seeing that.
I'm looking at this and thinking, this doesn't look like
the right one.
No, it's not. Oh, there we go. Also,
can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Now does it look more like maps?
Guys, emojis if you can see Mam's screen. If you can see 377.
Oh, that's even better. Okay.
Awesome stuff.
Sorry, guys. I was experimenting with something earlier. Okay. So if we take the number 377 and we're going to round it off to the nearest 10, right? There, actually, let's make it a 79. Then we've got a different digit to work with. Then what number is it that we're going to look at to tell us which digit must we look at to see where we're going to round off, if we're rounding off to the nearest 10? Anyone put their... Okay, who's telling me?
Hands, remember.
Keanu. Right, Keanu's going to tell us nearest 10. Which digit must I look at? You need to unmute, Keanu.
The 9.
We're going to look at the 9, okay? And the 9, thank you, Keanu, is going to tell us whether my 10s column is going to go up to the next 10 or if it's going to stay the 10 it's at. And so because it's 9, we have our little rhyme, 5 or more, let it soar, it's going to go up. 4 or less, you let it rest, it's going to stay where it is. Okay, so because it's 9, we're going to go up to the next 10. So I want you to you can show me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on your screen if I write the correct answer. Okay, so show me, am I writing the correct answer to round this off to the nearest 10? Is that the correct answer? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
No, it's the incorrect answer.
Okay, I've got quite a few thumbs down. Good. It is the wrong answer. Okay. What should my answer be? Letabo. Hi. What should my answer be? Can you unmute Letabo?
Hello.
Hello. Right. What should my answer be if I'm rounding it off?
380.
380. Okay, I want my number to end in a 0 if I'm rounding it off. Excellent. Okay. Now what happens if I'm rounding it off to the nearest 1,000 or the nearest 100 actually? So what happens if I want to round it off to the nearest 100? Am I going to look at the same digit? No, I'm going to have to look at which one? Ramia, which digit must I look at if I want to go to the nearest 100?
7.
I must look at the 7. Okay, and the 7 is going to tell me whether my hundreds must round up to 400 or whether it must stay 300. And 7 is more than 5, so it is going to round up, and I'm going to have the answer of 400. Is everyone in agreement with me? Do we agree? Yes. Okay, awesome. All right, so what we're going to do is, I'm not going to do too much of this with you because I think you kind of have this gotten down, right? So I'm going to leave this here. Does anyone have a question? Do you want to pop it in the chat if you have a question before I give you some work to do to practice this? No one got a question. Okay, so if you have a question later, you can do a chat. You can put a question in the chat. Okay, you're always welcome to do that. So here we have got 4 numbers. Okay. And each number needs to be rounded off to the nearest 10 and to the nearest 1,000. Okay, so the nearest 10 and also to the nearest 1,000. So we always go back to the original number. This is a mistake kids sometimes make, as they round it off the nearest 10 and they use that answer to round off. We're always going to go back to this number here. So we're going to round this one off to the nearest 10, and then we're going to round it off again to the nearest 1,000. Okay. So your first thing, I'm going to give you 1 minute to do the first one. Okay, so the first green one. So this is A. You're going to get 1 minute to do A, round it off to the nearest 10 and the nearest 1,000, and then we're going to mark it quickly. Right, off you go.
Ma'am, I'm done.
Awesome. Hang 10 for 30 seconds.
Done, ma'am.
Fabulous. 5 more seconds. 4, 3,
Done, ma'am.
2. We're cooking tonight. Sure, you guys are on fire. You wouldn't know it's Wednesday, huh? My goodness. I'm so proud of all of you. Okay, and stop where you're at. Okay. The nearest 10. The nearest 10. Let's see, who am I going to pick on tonight? Who am I going to pick on? Ewan. Ewan, can you round off 5,642 to the nearest 10 for us, please? You're going to need to unmute, Ewan. Okay, Kieran's not hearing. Maybe Kieran's writing in the chat. Okay, Kieran, if you can't speak, do you want to write it in the chat? Okay, we're having some technical. So while we wait for Kieran to get sorted, I'll let Kieran do another one later.
Mama!
Oh, who's shouting? Hey, who's on? Rianse, can't you hear me? Just check your volume control on your computer or on your phone, and let's see if that works. Okay, Letabo, are you wanting to answer the question? Okay, Letabo is going to answer for us. Right, Letabo, round it off to the nearest 10, please.
Latabo's answered in the chat, ma'am. She
has, I
says,
see that. She says,
yeah,
5,000. Oh, 56. I think we've got an extra 6 there.
I think
Good.
there may have been a mistake.
I think that might have been a double
think
6.
it's exactly
Yeah,
what she's doing.
I think so. So we've got 5,640. Okay. And to the nearest 1,000. To the nearest 1,000. Is there anyone who'd like to volunteer to answer for us or write it in the chat for us?
Me, ma'am.
Watiwe's already
Okay.
got her hand up. So I think, can we ask Watiwe this one, teacher?
Definitely. Right.
Sure.
Watiwe, what's the answer?
Ma'am, the answer is 500, 600. It's 5,000. It's 5,600.
Okay, so now remember, what are we rounding off to? We're rounding off to the nearest 1,000. Okay.
Oh, 1,000. Oh, it's
1,000. Okay, so
Oh.
yeah, okay, so easy mistake to make. So it's reading questions really carefully. So 5,642 rounded off to the nearest 1,000 is actually, what's he with?
It's 6,000, ma'am.
6,000. Awesome.
We never doubted you for a minute. We knew you knew
Not
the
at
answer.
all. Yeah. All right. So what I want you to try and do is you're going to do as many as you can of the last three. So B is the 19,000, C is the 352,000, and D is the 2 million one. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes and I want you to see if you can do all three of those in 2 minutes. If you can't, don't stress. You just do as many as you can of those in 2 minutes, but be accurate. Okay, so you need to work carefully. So we're rounding up to the nearest 10 and the nearest 1,000. And when you finished, you just write done in the comment in the chats. Okay.
Ma'am, I'm done.
Fabulous. Okay, so when you guys are finished, rather write in the chat that you finished so that we don't disturb other people who are concentrating. Okay. Okay, 30 seconds for those of you who are still busy.
Ma'am, I'm done.
Fabulous. And 5 seconds left. Awesome stuff. Okay, so let's have a look at our answers. Okay, I'm going to answer the next one just so that we can move on a little bit quickly, and then I'm going to ask someone to do another one for us afterwards. We'll alternate between me answering some and then some other people answering so that we get a chance to have a look. Right, so we're rounding this one off to the nearest 10, which means we have to look at our units column, right? And 4 is less than 5, which means that it's going to stay the same. We're going to let the number rest because it's 4 or less. We're going to let it rest. So we're going to have 19,870. Okay. Then to the nearest 1,000, we have to look at our hundreds column. And our hundreds column is going to tell us whether or not we need to let it soar to the one next door or whether we need to let it rest. And 8 is bigger than 5, which means 19 is going to go all the way up to 20. So we're going to end up with 20,000. Hey, how was that one, guys? Are we happy? Ah, check. Some people are writing an answer in the comments before me. Oh, I thought you guys were like not loving maths, and you guys are brilliant. Okay, I'm gonna have to make this much harder, aren't I? Definitely gonna have to make this harder. All right.
I'm with you there, ma'am.
Coco, we're gonna have to up the ante. Well, good thing. The next thing I've got is the one that nobody liked when I asked them about on Monday. It's the multiplying and dividing by tens.
Ooh.
Right. Oh, that's what's coming up next. So let's warm our brains up some more with this. Okay. Who am I gonna ask? Jaden. Jaden, can you round off the next one for me? So we're rounding off to the nearest 10. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the units column. And what is that rounded off to the nearest 10, Jaden? Okay, that's absolutely not a problem, Jaden. So if the digit in the units column is 5 or more, then it means the tens column is going to go up by 1. Okay, so if the units column is more than 5, it's the tens column will go up. So what's the tens, Jaden? What's the tens column? The tens number going to go up to? It's going to go from 32 Okay, it's going to go from 30 to 40. Okay, so we're going to end up with 352,840. Okay, because when we're rounding off to the nearest 10, then we have to look at our units column. So we look at the one that's before the 10. And that tells us, is that closer to 40 or closer to 30? Okay, Jaden, I hope that makes a little bit more sense. So 37 is closer to 40, and so we round it off to 840. Okay. My pleasure. Sindiswa, do you want to round off to the nearest 1,000 fast? So same number rounded off to the nearest 1,000. I see lots of answers coming up in the chat.
Indisa just looks in the chat. She's going to be very confused.
Very confused. Lots of different answers.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let's see a new message. Let's see who's that new message from. Okay. Thank you. Right. So this one was that you. I think you wrote it there. Right. So when we are rounding off to the nearest 1,000, then we need to look at the hundreds column, and the hundreds will tell us what's going to happen to the thousands. Okay, this is my thousands. There's my 1,000. And so 8 is bigger than 5, which means my 1,000 is going to have to go up to the next 1,000. Right, so the rest of the number stays the same in the front. So we have 3, 5 still. And then the 2,000 becomes 3,000. Okay, let's make that 0, closed 0. Okay, so we're going to end up with 353,000. So just practice saying that number. Sometimes the really big numbers are confusing. Especially when there's lots of zeros in place. Okay, so well done those of you who got it right. I'm really impressed. That was a tricky one. But now for the most tricky one. Okay, are we ready for the most tricky one? I hope so. Let's see. Lesedi, hi, do you want to say something? Oh, I see Lesedi.
Oh, Lesedi, just hold on. You haven't quite joined with your audio. So can you have a look on the left-hand side at the bottom? There's a button that says join with audio. So if you can do that, I'm sure we'll be able to hear you in just a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so while Lesedi is getting organized, I'm going to do the rounding off to the nearest 10. So because we're looking at the 10, it means we have to look at the units column. And 1 is definitely smaller than 5, which means that we're going to let it rest. Okay, if it's 4 or less, we let it rest. So all the other digits in our number in front of the 10 stay exactly the same. Nothing else changes from the front. So we're going to have, here's a really big number, guys. 2,498,610. Excellent. I'm seeing some of the answers coming through in the chat. Brilliant. Okay, so 2,498,610. And is Lesedi joined? Lesedi got the audio going. Let's check. Let's not check. Okay, Lesedi, do you want to try the rounding it off to the nearest 1,000? Okay, I'm going to do the nearest 1,000 while we just wait. All right, so if we're going to do the nearest 1,000, then it means we need to have a look at our hundreds. Now, hundreds column is going to tell me what to do with my thousands. That's 6, that's more than 5, so we're going to let it rise. And so all the rest of the numbers stay the same in the front. So we go, not in front of that one. So we're going to end up with 2,490,000. Am I buffering? Am I buffering for everybody?
You look fine for me, ma'am. It might just be a change in the Wi-Fi sometimes that does happen. Yeah.
Okay. Now, because my 6 tells me that my 1,000 must go up, this 1,000 is going to go up to 9. Okay, so I'm going to have another 9 there, and I'm going to have 3 zeros on the end because it's thousands. So I've got 2,499,000. So 2,499,000. Okay.
Teacher Rebecca.
Yes, Coco.
I just got a message from Timuluho who says she doesn't quite understand what happened. Do you think we could explain it one more time, or do we have to
Absolutely. Definitely. Okay. So I'm going to have a look at this one in particular, just because it's the last one we've done. Okay. So when we are rounding off to the nearest 10, we need to look at our tens, right? And here is the tens. Okay. And what we're really trying to find out is that closer, is that 11? Is it closer to 10, or is it closer to the next 10 up, which is 20? Okay, so if we had to put 11 on a number line, is that 11 closer to 10, or is it closer to the next 10, which would be 20? Okay, and if you think about a number line, if you look at a ruler, 11 is definitely closer to 10, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to round it off to 10. Okay, if we think about 37, if we put that on a number line, we're going to put it between 30 and 40. Is 37 closer to 30, or is it closer to 40? Well, if you look at your ruler, you can see that the 7 is closer, 37 is closer to 40. If you've got a really long ruler, most rulers don't go that big. Okay, so 37 on a number line is closer to 40. So we round it off to 40. Okay, and all the numbers in the front of that stay the same when we're rounding it off. We don't change the rest of them. We're just looking at the tens, what's happening with the tens. Okay, so the little rhyme that we use, just to help us remember and to do it as quickly as we can, is we think when we're rounding off, when we get to 5, we're going to go to the next number up. Okay, because when we think 5 is halfway through, which means we're getting closer to the next side. Okay, so when we get to 5, if the number ends in 5 or more, we're going to let our number go up. We're going to let the 10 go up to the next 10. Okay. If the number's 4, it's going to go back down the hill. And it's going to go back. It's just going to stay at 10 that it's at. So it's going to stay 30, or it will stay whatever your 10 is. In our example, we had 11. And the closest one, because our digit was 1, it's just going to go close back to the 10. Okay. Does that help a little bit? I'm going to pop in the chat if that helps a little bit. Okay. So if we look, we then keep everything else the same in the front, because that doesn't need to change. So we just keep those numbers all there. And the only thing that changes is when we're rounding it off, what happens to the 10s. And the 10s is going to round off from 11. It's going to go down to 10. Okay. And we do the exact same thing when we're looking at the thousands. Okay. We look at the whole, let's erase the stuff. So when we're looking at the thousands, you can even highlight if you need to. Whoops. You can highlight the thousands. This is all thousands here. Okay, this is part of the thousands. So if we think of 8,611, that's going to be closer to 9,000 than it is to 8,000. So we round it up to 9,000. Okay. But if we want to do it the shortcut way, all we do is we look at the 100, and that's going to tell us we're closer to the next 1,000 up. Okay. I hope that's helped a little bit for those people who were struggling a tiny bit with that. But what I would recommend you do, oh, no, that's, sorry, net needs change. What I recommend you do is, if this is something that you have struggled with and you are struggling with, then what you can do is, I'm going to go back up to the top, and you can take a photo of the little rhyme and of the other little bit that's near it. Okay, so you take a screenshot of the top of the lesson so that you can see, because this is quite a useful note. Okay, and this will help you when it comes to just remembering what you have to do. So the two methods is, you can use the number line method, that's this one, and you think what's the closest number on the number line, or you can use the little rhyme if you prefer a rhyme. Okay, so if you need to, then take a screenshot of this so that you can see and remind yourself of what you need to do. Okay. All right, I'm going to, can we move on? Is there anyone who needs me to? Sandisa, are you on your phone? Are you on the Zoom on your phone? If you're on your phone, it might be a little bit, then you should be able to press the, on my phone, it's the home button and the side button together, do a screenshot. You'll have to give that one a shot. If you're on a PC, then try and take a photo of it with a phone. Okay. Otherwise, you can come back to the lesson on YouTube. Okay, the lesson will be on YouTube and you can watch it again and see. You can then write it down. Okay, but I'm going to move on a little bit. Otherwise, we're going to run out of time and that's going to be awful. So, should we take a 30-second brain break? We're going to do a 30-second brain break. And Coco, can you pop the poll on for me? This is going to be a 30-second poll, so you don't have long to do this. So here we have a poll because we need to have a little bit of a break for our brains. It's been a long day.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so guys, something is going to pop up on your screen in just a little bit. Okay, it's just a couple questions we want you guys to answer. Okay, so look out for them and then you're going to answer them on your screen. So don't freak out. Okay, I'm going to start it now. 3, 2, 1, bye. Okay, just answer both questions for us.
And no thinking, you've got to go as fast as you can. Okay, so your first option. What would you
Oh,
prefer?
yeah, man. What is with these questions? I don't want to bath in jelly or shower in custard.
I know,
Ugh.
but that's the whole point of it. Which one would you like to do the most? If you had to do one, which one would it be? They're both gross options. They really are both gross options.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather shower in custard because then you can, like, you know, then it's quick. It goes over your head and then it's done, right? You can have, you don't have to like immerse your whole body into it. Like if you go into jelly, then you have to like sit down and slide in and squelch and
Jelly
so I
is
think,
better because it
But
doesn't
then now
go
you
in your
like,
hair.
oh, that's true.
I'd wanna just go like drinking and eating my bath water and my shower water. It's just like
Although,
dessert and a shower at the same time.
you see, but if you shower in custard, then before the custard hits your body, you can just open your mouth under the shower head and get a mouthful of custard. Whereas
Yes,
if you're in
absolutely.
the jelly, then your dirt is in the jelly when you take a bite.
Yeah.
I think the study thinks that better if we could bath in jelly because it doesn't go on your hair.
Oh,
You make a good
yes,
point.
I understand. Yes, and then I can tie my hair up and then I don't have to put my hair in the jelly. I like that, Mercedes.
That's very
I
good
agree.
reasoning. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Does anyone think that fish, Coco, did anyone say
And
fish
we
would
can-
be a
Yes.
better
and can
bet?
pick it up.
2 people said fish, and I want to know who these 2 people are. Who wants fish
No,
on
I
their pizza?
wouldn't say
Guys.
That is so disgusting.
Guys, fish on a
Exactly.
pizza.
Why? Trouble. Why would you want fish on a pizza?
Well, I suppose it depends on the type of fish, hey?
Oh, no, no, man.
Salmon.
No, man.
Oh,
No.
salmon. Salmon might be nice on a
Yes, I would
pizza.
love salmon on a pizza. Yes, actually, yeah, I agree with you. Just
Salmon on a pizza, but that's pretty much the only one. Tuna, no. Tuna pizza,
No.
See? No, thank you.
Amahela, you're right. That's their personal option. We can't judge them.
There's no
You know.
judgment here. No judgment. We might have a giggle, but no
Seriously, guys,
judgment.
really.
There will be judgment.
No judgment,
I'm
but
just telling you.
you. No judgment, but you. All right. Thanks
Okay,
so
so-
much, guys. That was
Thank
awesome.
you. Sometimes we have to have a bit of fun, hey?
Yes, that
All right.
was really awesome. Thanks so much, ma'am. I feel so refreshed. Okay. I think we
Yeah,
can get back to the
Especially
maths,
after
hey?
that shower of custard. All right, so we're going to have a look at multiplying and dividing by 10, because quite a few people said that on Monday that gave them the heebie-jeebies, and they were like, ugh, multiplying and dividing by 10. No, thank you. So I thought we could have a quick squiz at it tonight. And it's actually, when you get the hang of it, it makes quite a bit of sense. And it is a little bit straightforward once you get the hang of it. Okay, so it's just figuring it out that takes a little while. So when we multiply by a 10, right? So say I have 42 times 20, okay? My 20 can get broken down into 2 times 10, can't it? Okay, so what I can do as my shortcut method is I can say, oh, well, I can do 42 times 2, right? Because that's a pretty straightforward one. So I can say 42 times 2, and 42 times 2 is 84. And then I can multiply that by 10. And when I multiply by 10, all I need to do is add 1 0 to my answer, because I'm multiplying by 10, and 10 has got 1 0. So I add 1 0 to my answer. Okay. And it would be the exact same thing if I said 42 times 200. 200 is the same as 2 times 100. And so how many zeros would I need to add to my answer? I would need to have 2 zeros on my answer. Let's put that back because I don't want that there. So it's 42 times 2, and 42 times 2 is 84. And then 84 times 100, I pop on 1, 2 zeros to the end of my answer. And that's it. That's what happens when you're multiplying by tens. Okay, so when you're multiplying by tens, you're going to break your number down into, so if it's 200, you're going to break it down into 2 times 100. And if it's 40, you're going to break it down into 4 times 10. And if it's 7,000, you're going to break it down into 7 times 1,000. So let's practice one more of these and let's see if you can get the hang of it.
Ma'am,
yeah.
Can we do another one of those where you really explain? I think we're all kind of just like, what just
too much, like, too fast.
Whoa. Yeah. Yeah, let's try that one again.
Okay, let's go slower. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, slow motion.
Exactly.
No, I'm not going to go slow motion.
Awesome.
Okay. If I've got, let's take a simpler number. I need to say 6 times 30. Okay. Now 6 times 30 is quite a big number. That's a little bit tricky to do, right? Okay. So I can make my life easier. And I know that 30 is actually 3 times 10, isn't it? Okay. That's a nice simple one because it's nice and simple to multiply by 10. All right. It's easier. I find it easier to multiply by a 10. So if I know that 30 is equal to 3 times 10, okay, I can multiply my 6 by my 3, and 6 times 3 is, I hope you all know, it's 18. Oh, hello, pen. It's 18. And then I can say 18 times 10. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm breaking my number up. I'm doing some expanded notation going on. Okay, so 18 times 10. 18 times 10 is 180. And my shortcut way is because I'm multiplying by 10 and 10 has one digit, 1 0, I just stick 1 0 on the end of the 18. That's my shortcut method. Okay. Have I got a question about that so far? Yes. Ask your questions, Zinhle. And I think Lesedi also has a question.
Ma'am, I was asking, at my school, we are taught multiplication different. We are taught multiplication the longer way, like stating 30, and then under the 30, under the 0 by 30, you place the 6. But as you multiply that way, you still get 180. And as you are explaining it the way you understand it and you are teaching it, we still get 180. So can we do? Can I do that one that I know? And
absolutely, absolutely. So this is the wonderful thing about maths, right? This is the best thing about maths, is that there are so many different ways of getting to answers. And there's different methods, and different teachers use different methods, and different methods work for different people's brains, and different people think differently. So if you have a method that works for you, you can use your method, okay? As long as you understand your method and can do it. So if you have a method that you're happy with and you're comfortable with and you can do it, then you go with your method. Okay, so it's all, maths is all about trying to get to the answer, and you use whichever way works best for your thinking. All right, and that goes for everybody. Yes? Okay. Lesedi, did you have a question? Your hand is up.
No, ma'am, I did that by mistake.
Oh, okay, no problem. And Neo, have you got a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go for it now.
Ma'am, I don't understand.
Okay, which part don't you understand?
I don't understand everything, ma'am.
Everything.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm lost.
Have you got a way? That's okay, don't worry about being lost. That's why we're here to find you. Okay. Have you got a way? Have you got a way to multiply that works for you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so do you struggle with multiplying most of the time?
I don't, ma'am.
Okay, so
But this one
then,
is so hard.
okay, so we're going to, I think actually, Coco, we're going to spend a whole lesson on multiplying
Yeah, I
and
think so
dividing.
too.
I think I don't want to rush you guys, and I don't want to run out of time. So we're actually going to spend a whole lesson on multiplying and dividing rather than moving on to other stuff, because it's quite an important thing to be able to do. Okay, so I'm going to park this here, okay, because I don't want to rush it and make people feel even more confused than they were already feeling. And so we're going to park this, and on Monday, we're going to do a whole lesson on multiplying and dividing. Okay, so we'll spend the entire time looking at multiplying and dividing, and we'll look at a couple of different methods. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Do you
ma'am.
think that will help you guys feel a bit better?
Yes.
Excuse me,
William
ma'am.
says yes, I think so.
Okay, good. Awesome. The next lesson is on Monday at 5 o'clock. Okay, so we have Mondays and Wednesdays. Okay, so we're definitely going to do some more of this because I don't want you to be lost. I don't want anyone lost. Okay. All right.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
When are we doing the test? When are we writing the test?
So you're going to do a quiz just now, but it's a very short quiz. Okay, I've made it one that you can all ace really well. And we're actually going to explain to you in about a minute on how it's going to work and how you're going to get there. And we're all going to try and get on together to have a look at how to do the quiz. Okay. And all you're going to do is this is revision stuff. So you're going to do your absolute best. You'll have 10 minutes to finish it. And you're just going to do the best that you can do. Okay.
Okay. And then it's going to be like how Teacher Coco set up those questions. Is it gonna be set up like that?
Similar. So we'll show you, we're going to show you in a minute. Okay. So there's some true and false questions and there's some multiple choice questions.
Okay.
So we'll show you how it works.
Ma'am,
Yes.
I did the quiz.
Did you do the quiz already?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Well done. Who's that person?
Next time, Noah, I think you should wait for us and we can all do it together, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
But you can do it again now. So you can do the quiz more than one time. Okay. So if you want to do the quiz again, you can do the quiz again. All right.
Okay,
when we
ma'am.
all do it together. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Just don't give them the answers, Noah. Just shh.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
no,
ma'am,
keep it quiet. Okay.
I won't, ma'am.
Okay. So,
Yes, Joey?
Ma'am, is the quiz easy or difficult?
well, that's a difficult one to say because for some people, some of the questions might be really easy. So for me, one question might be really easy, but for Coco, it might be a difficult question because it's something that Coco struggles with. Or Coco might find one question really easy, but I find it really difficult because I struggle with that section. So I can't say whether it's easy or difficult. It's very straightforward. There's no tricks, like absolutely no tricks in it. Okay. So you will be able to manage it. All right. So there's no
Okay,
English
thank you, ma'am.
lessons, unfortunately. Okay, so what we're going to do is you can only do the quiz if you signed on. Actually, Coco, should I hand over to you?
Yes, excellent.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
All
Teacher
right.
Rebecca. All right, so
Just-
can
Coco,
I
sorry.
just get, yes.
Sorry, Coco, quickly, before I hand over to Coco properly, I'm going to have to run off in a minute. So I'm going to say goodbye now so that you don't have to say goodbye to me when you finish your quiz, but stay on the Zoom meet because you're going to carry on with Coco, but I'm saying goodbye and mwah, and I will see you on Monday. Okay. All right. Good luck for the quiz. Okay. Okay. Coco.
See you on Monday.
Bye. Okay, guys, listen up for
Bye.
Coco. Listen up for